Welcome to Uncomfortable Truth by Monica. I am Monica Andreessen, the author of Uncomfortable Truth by Monica. I am excited to be joined tonight by Scott Barger. And really, Scott and I have some parallels in our careers. I love his commitment to the resistance. And he has some really groundbreaking, kind of eye opening ideas and ways to approach this all. So I'm really excited to introduce you all to Scott here, and I'm going to let him take it away for a couple of minutes.
Well, thank you so much, and you're very kind to invite me. This is I've been following your work and enjoying your daily hits. They're so thoughtful and always very current and on point. So that's a highlight of my Substack daily experience. I am 30 odd 30 to 40-year veteran of hospitality, but in very different degrees in talent acquisition, risk management, legal affairs, and others. But as we talk about the resistance, if there's any time in our lives when it has called for more attention, it is this moment that we're living in. So I'm happy to be on, and we'll hopefully inform, entertain, and not leave any marks on each other, and we'll have a good time. So thank you once again for the invitation.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. I think we'll do just fine with that. So, well, great. Well, I know that we had shared with the audience that we really wanted to get down and talk about the PayPal mafia and how to really attack that, but also along with election integrity. Scott had just reminded me a few minutes ago that we are 99 days away from the election. So I think that with that being said, Scott, I'll let you kind of go in. I know that this is a topic that you've been going live on and really have some passion and some ideas around. So I would love for you to kick us off here.
Sure, thank you. It's it's just we're all deluged every single day with too much information and the lives outside and the kids and grandkids. Uh, none that none that I've been informed of yet, but I'm genealogically the right age for it. Uh, and it's understandable when people say, it's the summer. We've got the kids, we've got the camp, we've got the plans, and the World Cup, and all these other things. And there's always time. Elections are a fall thing; they're an autumn thing. So, we'll put that on the checklist for the next quarter, and we'll deal with it as we always have throughout our lives. And this, of course, is a very different time. I Much to the growing disgust and dismay of my audience, I perhaps I'm hitting this about once a week now because we're at 99 days out, as you said, and it's particularly with the the growing threat that the United States Postal Service might be weaponized in some way to affect mail-in ballots. And in a way that's less discussed is oftentimes people trying to comply with what they're anticipating will be new ID requirements. That
Yes.
oftentimes involves the mail too. So
Well,
to you,
and we're
ma'am.
we're going to be throwing so many bombs with this, just as this Trump 2.0 administration has done. I mean, it's just they just kind of carpet bomb everybody, and it's so hard for everybody to not only keep up with, but really not just get completely fatigued. And you're right, we've got the Save Act, so we've got that, that women specifically have to be concerned with. But then I also saw, and I haven't had a chance to dive into this, that the Trump administration asked the Supreme Court today about some additional restrictions surrounding the mail-in voting for this election. So, um, like I said, these next 99 days, we don't even have any idea what's going to be thrown at us over the course of it.
Right. The short answer is everything in the kitchen
Yeah,
sink because
yeah,
he told us uh, uh, a Thursday ago last week, that he's going to be doing everything. He's bringing out all the greatest hits. And in fact, what we know is Russian interference. He is stirring into the recipe Chinese and Iranian, which are both these are countries that interfere with elections as a matter of sport. They've been doing it for decades. There's nothing new about it. But Trump has to very deftly, because of his relationship with Vladimir Putin, and that for another episode. That's one of my pet projects is the 60-plus-year-old amateur criminologist that I've read every book that's ever been written about Vladimir Putin and and Tsarist Russia and all sorts of things in between. But we're in for some things that will delight, some things, of course, that will blow our minds. As the Project 2025 manifesto told us, the disruption is part of the program, and they haven't disappointed.
They sure haven't. They've successfully rolled it all out. And with the Save Act, something that I was thinking today, and I actually had a chance to dive into some statistics because it's just really getting to the bottom of it. And this Christian nationalism is a whole additional layer. You had mentioned the foreign election interference, but the Christian nationalism and really behind it with the Project 2025 portion of it. I think the SAVE Act is really all about the coverture, bringing that back. Because when you look at it, and I was thinking, with the SAVE Act, it's going to affect more MAGA Republican voting women than it is progressives and Democrats, right?
Right.
So when you really and we know that the geniuses behind their side know this. So when you really get down to it and you start really paying attention to Pete Hegseth's, Doug Wilson, his pastor, and you start listening to what Russell Vogt has to say about the topic,
Right.
it's really getting back to a one vote per household is what they're envisioning. So they're wanting to erase the women's votes. And so I think the MAGA women are kind of not so much on guard. But really it's their votes. It's interesting because it's their portion of the vote that would be impacted in the most for this particular election, just because of the paperwork requirements.
No, absolutely. And just like you said, with think about the birth certificates. I do not have statistics on this, but I would argue that the percentage of MAGA women married that took their husband's name is a higher percentage than progressive women that took their husband's name. Now, am I talking about a minor difference? Sure. I don't have the statistics to back it up. But as you pointed out, if they pulled the rug out from under there, uh, uh, ironically, today I received in the mail a, a certified copy of my own birth certificate because
Ah,
I've been talking about it so much.
yeah.
I opened up the passport, checked the dates. I've been really lazy traveling, horrible, bad father. But then I have a copy of my birth certificate in the safe deposit box. I know that it's there. It's
Mhm.
my original, so it's fine. But I spent the $21.50, paid to the order of Cuyahoga County in Ohio, and got an updated, clean and pretty stamped copy. And then I have, as we've talked about, as you talked about too, uh, the Real ID is not in the SAVE Act. It's not a verified identification. So they're trying to create confusion and doubt. So
Yep.
I'm just stacking up my better half. Uh, Obviously, her birth name does not match her current legal name, so that's a problem for women all across the country. And the passport issue is that, as you talked about in your beautiful letter 2 days ago, I think, is that it's 50%. of the population has the passport. And I would argue that maybe if you look at mega voters
Mm-hmm.
versus all the rest, that maybe that number is even lower because of a lower propensity to travel to foreign places. Maybe that's just a
Yep.
prejudice from a
No, actually, it's rural America.
northeastern, you know. So,
I don't have numbers on MAGA specifically, but rural America, so across the United States, 57% of Americans have passports. It's only 25%. It's actually a little bit less than 25% when you look at rural America. Now, that doesn't break down MAGA, but that gives you a pretty good picture. And I love Chris Rowe's comment. You know who it won't affect? Childless cat ladies. Yes, that is right, Chris. I don't wish I was childless, but I wish I was a cat lady some days. Some days I
right.
feel like a cat lady.
Bring that
Um,
back.
but and then in that same research bit that I pulled up, 81% of Republican voting women changed their names, last names, what compared to about 69% of Democratic voting women. So there is some differences there.
Yeah,
But it just that those nuances, it got me thinking, this is not about taking the women's votes. It's rather about restructuring the country and moving it towards where, the one house vote.
right.
I don't know what happens to single women like me. I'm not sure what where,
No,
where that goes. But clearly that's not, I mean, they're trying to take care of problems like me with all of these laws, making it so difficult that eventually it will be back like it was before in the 1970s when women could put their name on a mortgage and have their own credit card. And I mean, that's what Project 2025, I mean, that's what's written in it, as
yeah,
far as that's concerned. Yeah.
right. Especially that. Thank you for the Doug Wilson name check because it always gives me kind of a little bit of a sick feeling in my stomach because I think back to watching that Despicable Man. But there is an audience for him, and there is an audience for Pastor Pete Hegseth.
Mhm.
And as we've learned over the last few election cycles, it don't take much. It's very narrow margins and narrower still now after Louisiana v. Calais. That just the margins are ever tighter and the silos are higher and better protected. And you don't have to capture a lot in order to swing the election. So
Yeah. So in your lives, because I know that you've been going live, I've seen a couple of them and talking about a lot of this. What have you been sharing with your audience as far as like real actionable steps, some things that folks can be doing out there? Because again, I know there's a million things thrown at us new each day and in all different directions. What are you advising your audience?
right. I mean, just talking about the women first and the birth certificate, if you have not changed your name because of marriage or just because you didn't like it for whatever reason, then that getting that certified copy of the birth certificate, and this is where the USPS and the need to act quickly kind of come together because we can perhaps Mr. David Steiner, the Postmaster General, is what before Trump 2.0. This is a guy who was second in charge at UPS. I mean, like a major executive with serious responsibilities, and now he's just waiting there to be given the green light to mess with the USPS, which on the one hand, it's the mail-in ballots coming and
Mhm.
going, and on the other hand, it's if you're going to order a passport, because I mean, clearly the best way. I always start at the top. You and I have better things to spend $165 on. A lot of people do in life. That's two trips to the market, or one and a half if we're lucky. That's real money to people. That's not just a five. That's not just a cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, local brand. That to ask every person that doesn't have a passport today to get it, it's hard on people. But if you're concerned enough to want to make your particular standing and you care about voting, then do that today. Contact your local post office if you have questions. Go on the website. and you now 99 days, you're assured to get it done by then. So that's kind of like
You would hope
the
so. I'm already seeing the mail has slowed down recently. I've had a couple of documents not related to this, but business documents in the last couple of weeks. The mail has been running very, very, very slow, even locally. I've been noticing that. So that's another piece. They can always jack with that. I see a question that I do want to address because I want to make sure that I said this clearly. So is the 57% rural an increase? So the 57% is the percentage of Americans that have passports. 25% of rural Americans have passports. So just to clarify, so a little under half of the national average are the rural passports.
yeah, that's no, that's a great statistic. I I was surprised that it was that low, but the only time I had ever thought about it was because of our dear president made us do so. Then when you get down from the top line and the most expensive level, which is the passport renewal, certainly the certified copy of the birth certificate is important, and also as a strong supplementary identification, it's the real ID. So if you have the certified copy of you don't have a passport, but you have the certified copy of the birth certificate and a real ID, you should be good. If if that level of identification doesn't work, then this country's at hats and bats and things are on fire. So, at that point, you can leave that at home and get your pitchfork. Yeah. Other than that, just
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, the, those three idea the passport, the real ID, and the certified copy of the birth certificate are important. I The other thing that just as a planning exercise for a family is, I checked all my boxes. I make sure that my better half has checked all of her boxes. And then we have children that are just old enough to vote, which is surprising to see somebody as old as I am to still have a 19-year-old. But, you know, then you do your immediate family, and then some people feel very awkward speaking to other parts, the wider family, local community, church groups, community centers, or whatever. But this is such an important time. Find a way. What I always start with is look around for senior citizens in your
Mhm.
and just maybe you can open the subject like, I just I just renewed my real ID and got my certified copy. I wondered if there was anything I could do as your neighbor to help you get prepared for the elections in November because they're going to be here sooner than you know. And then let them tell you whether they want you to take a step further because people are private about that. And
You
yeah,
know, I've had some real luck in talking to people, and I mean, I live in rural Kansas, so I'm definitely not surrounded by a progressive crowd here by any stretch. But I've had some real luck opening just similar to that. Hey, I was just getting my paperwork together and for this upcoming election, because at the end of the day, I don't care if they're MAGA or if they're Team Mondami. They want to be able to vote in the election. This is huge for women, and at the end of the day, the more and more and more that women are discovering what is behind this and what this is leading to, and the rights that could be stripped away from us, literally like overnight. And the digression, I mean, I think women are fairly alarmed. I don't care what side, unless they've been living, under a rock. I think women are scared and they're fairly alarmed. So I'm finding that people that maybe aren't or haven't been open to necessarily political types of conversations are definitely open to talking about election integrity.
right. No, and that's the strange the dilemma, I guess, is that if you take the conservatives and progressives, both are in some way concerned about election integrity. But if conservatives see it as the president does, as this the Save Act, which will disenfranchise women, people of limited means, and
Hmm.
people of color just by virtue of the way that the demographics work. I think on the progressive side, we need to be a little bit more forward about voicing the importance of it. I did a whole podcast on it where it's not for 2026. You could argue that it probably shouldn't be for 2028. But if we wanted to do it correctly as a country, as some places in Europe do, is you essentially get a document that's passport and voting in one, and you say by X date. We can't do 100,000 of them every week in the United States,
Yeah.
but file by this deadline so that on by the midterms in 2030, everybody of legal voting age will have the document. And then the talking point, whether you believe it's cynical, as I
Mhm.
do in Donald Trump, or just practical on the progressive side, just being too lazy to get your freaking passport. Either way,
Yeah.
we solve the problem. We can get on to focusing on real things like how much do potatoes cost,
Hmm. Hmm.
getting milk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Anything else specific to the election integrity before we kind of move on and switch gears a little bit? Also,
Oh well,
meddling in our elections, but switching gears a little bit to the PayPal mafia men.
yeah. Well, I don't. There are few things in life that bring me more delight in a very dark way than talking about Elon Musk and his friends. So I'll let you lead off, and I'm just going to try to contain my excitement.
Yeah, I think I've been doing a series or just started a series in the last week of really billionaire takedowns. And the idea behind it, one billionaire at a time. And just little actionable steps. The story behind it, little actionable steps, one billionaire at a time. When I look at the PayPal mafia, I mean, I haven't gotten to any of the four of them. They're hard. Well, actually, I've gotten to Hoffman, because he
Right?
was easier. LinkedIn is very actionable and it was very personal for me. I think most of you on here have read my LinkedIn piece. But that was 20 years of my professional network gone overnight. I mean, 8,200 contacts, and it has hurt my subscriptions. It's hurt my business on Substack. But it's a temporary kind of pain, and the pain of knowing what he's all about. I mean, I couldn't sleep with at night, and to be quite honest, the threats and just some of the safety issues with me primarily was coming from headshots on LinkedIn, a first name and a last initial, these headshots on LinkedIn. And it's a mafia at the top and a fraternity house for everybody else, it seems like there. So LinkedIn was the easy one. It's the Musk, Teal, and Sachs that are a little bit harder because they have purposely made themselves fairly boycott proof. They're not it's not like just going to your Amazon cart. So you have to get a lot smarter about taking on the three of them.
Hmm. No, I absolutely anybody that hasn't read your Reid Hoffman and LinkedIn work, it's absolutely magnificent. I would recommend that to all to read it and then read it again because it's like you said, for us it's very personal because we've made our living in that space to some degree. But his evolution, where he was initially viewed, and he also the timing of when he sold LinkedIn. I mean, he sat on the board when it went to
Yes, Microsoft
went to,
board. Yep.
to Zuckerberg land, but he still had influence. And then the information came in, and that very disturbing 2015 dinner in New York, hosted by Jeffrey, or not New York, hosted by Jeffrey Epstein.
I
Uh,
think that was in Silicon Valley, or was that in New Mexico? It doesn't.
you are 100% right.
Yeah.
You are 100% right. That is, it was. You see it at first, and I think the first screenshot of that I saw was Ellie Leonard, who's on this platform, who is a a brave and vigorous advocate for the rights of the Epstein victims.
She's
And he,
incredible. The work that
and then
she's
he,
done, she's
and I
she's
thought,
magnificent.
it's like, Do you see who that is in that picture? Can you believe it? Oh my, no. Oh my God, he had hair. I mean, like I should talk, but the hairlines were a lot different because this was what, 11 years ago or better. It's and they were all just so happy with themselves, just smiling. Elon's face. I wouldn't. This is a non-violent podcast, so to say that somebody is punchable is it's not actionable. I don't have bad intent towards any other human being unless you start it. But I just to look at the self-satisfied, kind of that dark room with lots of butlers and waiters just fawning over them. You can see I get a little bit worked. So please, please save me, so I don't go any darker.
No, you're good. No, as far as these guys, so I'd like to start with Musk on some actionable things with him because he's probably, or he is, out of the four aside from Hoffman, he's probably the most actionable. I mean, the obvious, Tesla has tanked. If you bought a Tesla in 2026, you're wearing a MAGA hat and a battery pack now. So the Tesla's tanked, but the X, Twitter, the X, I've never been on the platform to be honest with you, but the paid premiums, I know boycotting that. I'm probably preaching to the choir in this chat room, but really how to hit Musk. And I saw that somebody else had mentioned that they had written a couple articles about SpaceX. I would love to get my hands on that. So whoever had said that, please send those to me. What are your thoughts on Musk? I'd love to hear
Oh,
doing some
um,
things too.
yeah. I mean, looking back at looking at the receipts, if you just look at his if you'll permit me, his his grandfather was uh, was a goose stepping Nazi. He was part of a workers' party in Canada back then that was very fond of Adolf Hitler. The father, a little bit slimy, but less less Nazi pandering. Musk growing up in South Africa, I have to always stipulate first. This is a this is a legitimate genius of a human being that has invented magnificent things, many of which, excuse me, all of which are better than anything I've ever invented. So I want to stipulate that he adds value to the world at some level. Okay, so I got that out of the way.
Sure.
It's just when you take somebody who already has so many warts and then you run him through the Doge cycle, and
Mm-hmm.
now Mr. Gawande, the doctor, as per the New Yorker article about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that estimates are that upwards of 750,000 kids have died already since Trump returned to office, and uh, Musk took the axe to, or excuse me, the chainsaw to Doge. This is real life impacts to those that are least able to help themselves. And if you've seen the recent interview he did with The Economist just within the last week, there are a lot of clips out there now, and it goes from miserable to frightening to blaming everybody except himself. So I'm I'm repulsed by him as a human being, not discounting the fact that SpaceX will help people get to another planet. I just hope that he's the first guy on the flight, and it's a one-way ticket. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
that's my guess.
these guys, they didn't come from nothing. They came from mining camps. They came from apartheid neighborhoods. Hoffman came from Palo Alto law office. He's the only one that actually was born in America, which is a whole nother topic.
But
But they all came. from the exact experience that taught them that democracy is dangerous and extraction is normal. And now they're trying to extract the American vote. I used to think of Elon as Musk as somebody that was really brilliant, great inventor. The more and more I see him now, I mean, he seems just like a ketamine addict that somehow, like, I don't know. I personally believe that he had a lot more help from the family business than he leads on. He acts like he did it all himself. Um, and I don't know. Every time I hear him talk, I I think less of him as just as a human being and what he brings to
Oh,
this whole thing. I find it interesting. With the four of them, Hoffman was the only American born out of the four. And with MAGA, and the immigrant issue, it's just interesting to me that MAGA's okay with immigrants coming over here making their billions and then telling America that democracy is not working for them anymore.
right. When they're
The America
whiter,
First Party.
well, whiter than Christmas only. But yes, exactly. And Peter Thiel the same way. He's the one that's well, I guess he's the one that's closest to my age in that whole retinue. I think he was born in '67, and in either Hamburg or Frankfurt, and then moved to South Africa. And the particular part of the South Africa, the colony that he lived in is now Namibia. And that was one of the holdover colonies where you would find at the time when he was a young man, there were people walking around goose dipping and giving a few sig heils, which of course our friend Elon did most famously, and he's been cataloged on film doing that too. And then he explains it away. It's like, no, that wasn't a Hitler salute. That was I saw a bug or I saw a fly. It was not me. And but everything that they do, they celebrate the white South African farmers who are
Hmm.
the only recent immigrants that have gotten full citizenship since Trump returned to office, is people
Hmm.
that are either even whiter than you and I, and that's
Hmm.
it. That's all you
Yeah,
got. And these
that's all I've
folks
got.
are from Haiti and Syria. It's not pretty.
It's not pretty at all. And I think David Sachs is the slipperiest one for me. He's hard to nail down because he really is the unicorn of all investments, and he's got the crypto.
Yep.
Um, yeah, he's got the yeah. He's but Sachs was the one when I was doing some research. I mean, his All In podcast is about the one thing as far as boycotting, that he's slippery. He's involved in everything.
Yep. No, Hollywood movie producer. I mean, he's done a
Yeah.
little bit of everything, and kind
Yeah.
of given himself the sheen of respectability.
Mhm.
And he
Yeah.
served his 120 days, whatever, with Trump, changed his title. He's still there helping in the White House, and now
Hmm.
all of the articles about, like, oh, now we found out that AI is actually going to come and get us. So why don't we set up some safety parameters? After, I think they say, after the horse has already left the barn, right? That
Yeah.
it's getting pretty. I don't want to be an alarmist. We got ourselves into it. We can figure out a way out. But the problem is that the greed of Trump and his acolytes want to make sure to extract every dollar that they can
Hmm.
before we call the sheriff. And so
Yeah.
that's where we are right now. We're like, oh, let's not regulate it yet, because I can see how my sons can drag $3 to $4 more billion by holding a gun at the heads of people in Silicon Valley, and then we'll
Hmm.
call the police and ring fence it. So
Yeah.
ring
Yep.
fence, like your article
Ring fence capitalism. Yep.
yesterday. Yeah, that was beautiful. I enjoyed that very much. Yeah.
Good. Very good. Something that surprised me so much, because again, going back to just like, how do we hit these guys? Like, how do we resist? Something that was shocking to me when I really started looking into it is how many 401k funds and pension funds have Palantir. Many of them, most of them. So that's one place I would take a look. I just wanted to mention that while I was thinking about it. I found out the Kansas Teachers Fund, oh my gosh, has a ton of their portfolio within Palantir. Yeah. So start looking at the funds where your 401ks are diversified, because there's a very good chance that Palantir could be one of those. So
That's a
just
great
really
point.
paying attention. Yeah. I hadn't thought about it until that point was brought up, and I was thinking, wow, that's really interesting, because I'm sure that there's a ton of people out there that have no idea that they're even a part of that company.
Right. What is being done in their name without their knowledge, you know?
Exactly.
And that's
Absolutely.
and that was shining bright when the IPO of the SpaceX was whatever it was in the last month. That because of the sheer size of it, then funds were almost required by the rules of the exchange
Mhm.
to carry some of the weight of that. And there was a great deal of criticism that because of Musk's influence with Trump was the only way, the heavy-handed approach that he took with the exchanges to do this all-time record IPO was the weight of the corrupt weight of the president. So, and there's another instance where if the exchange is being forced to carry the weight of that huge IPO, everybody shares the pain. He'll say that everybody shares in the glory and the opportunity to earn, but it works the same way upside down when, like with the real estate market in '87, everything goes bye bye. You share in that too. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just catching up on the comments here, making sure.
no, for sure. I uh, I was hoping you weren't going to make me try to read some comments too, because that print size, well, I'll embarrass myself. I'm just going to keep
You're
keep
welcome.
smiling and look at
Elon is a welfare queen. Yes, Elon is a welfare queen. 100%. All of these guys are welfare queens. Every last one of them.
well, and that's what the point that you brought up about the family uh, money that was behind him. Of course, he got the rest of it from the U.S. government,
Hmm.
and as some of the other ones have, ones we don't even know yet. We won't know for a few years what
Yeah.
was extended. The one that was extended to Don and Eric Trump from the Pentagon
Hmm.
was 400 plus $1 million. And will that loan be forgiven before the end of the administration? I'm betting yes. And
Hmm.
there are how many of those examples do we not now? We'll only know about it in 29
Hmm.
when when they're all kicking it in Albania on
Yeah, I was going to say when
on
it's
a
too
Bunkus
late.
island. You know,
Uh huh. Bunka's Island. Yes, the one that she discovered that she walked barefoot to the top of.
that happens to
Who would
me
have
every
thought?
day.
Isn't that just the most inspirational story? She was on a boat. I'm sure a very humble boat.
Barefoot.
Barefoot.
Yeah, and the fun part, the boat was owned by one of the Rothschilds, so we're going
Yes, it
way back,
was.
old money. And yeah, barefoot up the mountain with my husband. It was magical, and and measured in hectares, which we don't do many around these parts. But yeah, it's so gross. But you have to have a little bit of fun, like in an absurdist way. You have to have a little bit of fun with it,
You
because
do
if
have
you
to have a
don't,
little bit.
it'll make you cuckoo.
Okay, well, I do. I have a question then for you. All right. So let's get a little bit uncomfortable. So I've got a reader that would like me to ask you what Elon has actually invented. Just genuinely curious.
Well, uh, let's look at the PayPal mafia. He didn't invent anything. He was part of refining the algorithm in such a way that could the biggest thing that they faced were security risks from the Russian and Chinese mafia in the genesis of PayPal. And he was part of, I mean, he's a brilliant guy. Did he invent EVs? No, but he perfected or refined what was already there to make it a more efficient powertrain, electric powertrain. And, again, did he invent rocket travel? No, but he refined it in such a way to make it more economical for the United States government to contract with him than to run NASA. So it's more efficient um, financially to do it through Elon. And that was that was not just Trump. That was with Biden. And I think even Mr. Obama understood that this brilliant man can, you know, we can work with him. But now I go back to that picture that we were talking about earlier about I see these beautiful young uh, women sitting at a table in the Senate with Pamela Joe Bondi's back to them, with with uh, Mr. Blanche saying, "Yeah, I'm going to meet them," and he shows up. He said, "Hey, well, I can talk to your lawyers, but only one at a time, and only for 5 minutes. And oh, by the way, I got to go. I've got to go a tea time." And that's the respect. And so these women saw Elon on the island after having arrived there on Epstein's plane. And he wasn't alone. There, Peter Thiel was on the plane. Peter Thiel bats for the other team, so perhaps his motivations for traveling to the island were somewhat different. I'm not qualified to comment on that. But Reid Hoffman, they were all on the plane not once, but dozens of times documented. Maybe the food was good. Maybe that was it.
Oh, I think Peter Thiel had plenty of fun. I have a personal opinion that the boys are the hidden part of the Epstein story, but that's
Right. Well, exactly. And that's
mm,
that's something that hasn't been talked about. And
something that hasn't been talked
it's
about.
so
Something
it's
totally out of left field, but yeah, I'm.
no
But back to Musk. Yes, I think innovator. Absolutely. I think with Musk, I think his the capability he has in his mind to take risk and to take innovation and to take it all to just the absolute edge and push it off a cliff and somehow make it fly and land
right,
beautifully is his gift. I think that's his gift.
right. Yeah,
I don't
then
know how he's done
The
it. Now
Batman
he
parachute.
now he just seems like somewhat of a train wreck. I mean, I think he's just such a shell of a nothing, nothing. I mean, nothing good, nothing loving, just nothing. I think
No,
he's just a yeah.
no, but I'm very and then some of the lesser known ones I'm excited to kind of go down the line and Alex Karp, some of the people that aren't officially
Mhm.
tell me if I'm getting too dark here, I can turn on the light. If
That's okay. I'm turning down my light. I've got a bright my office window gets the afternoon sun. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex Karp, of course, co-founded Palantir with Peter Thiel, and he's the CEO now. He has the South Africa connections. He wasn't considered originally part of the PayPal mafia, but in the same way, I'd like to, if you'll excuse the indelicate reference, it's kind of like they are the late arriving purveyors of STDs. They show up and it's with them for life. It's a lot like Zuckerberg, right? Mark
Yeah.
Zuckerberg is not part of the PayPal mafia, but
Right.
he hung out with your friend Reid Hoffman. He
Right.
is intimately involved with these guys. He was sitting at that Epstein table. So I
Mhm.
consider the tech bros, they're all in that same club, that the Epstein class, as John Ossoff so brilliantly coined them, that they all deserve the same scrutiny and
Yeah.
disdain as one another. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'm sorry. My office has gotten just like steamy hot. I might go grab this door. I'm just going to open it real fast. I
Sure.
didn't think it would be this hot. I will be right back. You might want, if you want to turn on the light, we'll be right
I,
back.
I'm going to do
Goodness.
that as well. That'll take me 2 seconds. Sorry to your followers.
Okay. My apologies. All right. Much better. Whew. Get some air in here.
And I'll get
It hit
uh,
over 100 degrees in Kansas today. Oh,
uh, well, and when
lovely.
it's 100 out there is the real thing.
It is a real thing. Yeah. It's no joke. So, yeah. Time to take precautions.
Yeah, if I have to check my lighting, I might have to get my makeup team. Am I too shiny? Am I okay?
No, I think you'll be all right. I think,
Thank
yeah, I think you'll be all right.
thank you.
We're amateur hours still, so we're okay.
All right, thank you. That's Katie Couric isn't going to come out and yeah, okay. Oh no, it's again, I don't ever want to be accused of minimizing the impact on these actual victims. And sometimes just because the 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 protagonists are so evil and dark, you have to take that. I'm often guilty of taking that absurdist view at like, how could we torture them? How Elon and those folks? How could we make them feel the some pain as kind of uh, a tribute to these young victims that sit up there and testify so fearlessly when you know that there are rich men that have yet to be fully named and publicized
Mhm.
that have resources that none of these young women have.
Sure.
So the people that are getting pizzas sent to their house and all of these things that the protectors will do on behalf of Trump and his cadre, that they're sitting there at a table and they have to go home and get on with their lives. They don't have Secret Service protection. So I want to, whether it's even Aaron Parnas on this platform and Ellie, as we talked about before, the people that keep, every day fearlessly staying on top of that and paying tribute to their courage. I think it's commendable. I I I want to be a voice for them where it's appropriate, but I don't want to overstep because I haven't suffered what they have.
No, and that's important. So, yeah, I think that that was important to say. Um, oh, excuse me. Okay, I'm cooling off now. Oh my goodness, that was getting hot. And it wasn't the conversation. It's
No,
temperature here.
I think with just for since you mentioned your somewhere between Kansas and one thing that made me think of one of my COVID watches
Mhm.
was Ozark.
Uh-huh. Yes, that was one
Right.
of mine as well. Yeah.
And that's your when I think I am 375 yards or more from the Atlantic, and
Okay.
that whole lake vibe down there. Just I was there, but 45 years ago,
Uh-huh.
right in the Lake of Ozarks, right?
Yeah. Lake of the
Right.
Ozarks. Yep. Yep.
Just looks. What I recall is magnificent, and then of course when you throw in a bunch of Colombian drug lords and make it into a money laundering
And
operation.
hillbillies. Don't forget the hillbillies.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I took my kids to vacation there last summer. Yes, we did not have a whole lot of money to work with, and we needed somewhere that we could drive to. So that was the Lake of the Ozarks was it. It was wonderful. We had a
What
wonderful
you
experience. But yes, it is very interesting. The people, yeah, it's different. It's different. Beautiful country, absolutely gorgeous. So as far as actionable steps, I like to always end my lives with actionable steps on what we've been talking about. I think we've done a really good job of weaving those through this conversation. So just to recap, why don't you recap on a couple of things because you're really good on the election integrity piece. Some of
No,
the things that you've come up with.
thank you very much. Yeah, I to repeat a little bit about what I said is make give yourself the grace of making an action list. Like I said, we're all so busy. Said, oh, that's a great idea. I'll get to that next week after the kids get back from summer camp. And then all of a sudden, it's after Labor Day, and what we talked about at the USPS being weaponized in a negative way to slow down as we get closer to the election is make that list, and I'll republish one that I had a couple weeks ago in my feed. I'll put it out there. Uh,
Okay, I'll put that on in mine as well.
yeah, just and just go simple. Go. Do I have a passport? Is it valid? And what I always think about too, because of the times we're in, this ain't over yet. That it's through Trump 2.0. Every date I'm looking at is, am I good through December
Hmm.
28th? Not just 26. So if you're going
Sure.
through all the work, obviously the birth certificate, there's no date on that except the important one, and it's more about the name. We talked about that. Your real ID, it's valid now, but will it expire before this election, the midterm, and will it expire before the general in November 28th? And that's also you can kind of wind that back in when you talk to that beautiful senior that lives two doors down, and she ends up saying, "Yeah, I'd love your help with this because it's really confusing."
Hmm.
Then that's something uh, seniors. I mean, this guy, not quite a senior. I What I did was I I had a state issue ID
Hmm.
because full disclosure, these glasses don't do too much, but I had a little medical thing in my 9 million years ago, and so I haven't been on the road for 2 decades, right? But I had the real ID, state issue ID with the watermarks. But if you're not a driver, I'm not. I wish I was carded at the package store more frequently, but I don't drink. So when am I ever going to look at my own ID? It expired in December. So 2 months ago, I'm like, oh, wait, excuse me. I'm the asshole that's talking on feeds about the importance of getting your ID game in order. And I'm the biggest offender. So
No, biggest yep,
don't take anything for granted.
for
And
granted.
when
That's
you're talking to that neighbor in a kind way, hey, I'm here to help. It's very confusing. Is there any way I can help you, Mrs. McGillicuddy, to get ready for the elections
mhm.
because it's going to be right around the corner. I'm here to be helpful to you. I'm happy to bring you on election day if you don't like the mail-in ballots and you prefer to go to the local elementary school and cast your ballot in person because you get to see your friends and it's a social experience. Then I'm your guy or I'm your girl to get you there. I'll Uber you there.
Yeah,
I'll get you
that's great.
ice cream after whatever you want to do. Uh,
Yeah,
just getting
like,
one or two.
getting involved and again, not being scared to have those conversations because this is
Right,
something that most people aren't gonna. It's not gonna turn into a fight. Everybody wants the
right,
same thing, kind of thing
right.
here. And then I think when it comes to the PayPal mafia, just really paying attention to where you're spending your money and doing a little bit of research. If you don't know who owns this company that you spend a lot with or that you think a lot of, then research it. Take a look at it. I take a look at your 401k, see what companies you're invested in, and do a little bit of research on those. See who is speaking on your behalf.
Right.
Pensions, the same thing. And again, I know that not everybody has complete control over all of this, but just at least being aware, you do have the control to go in to your own personal information and really take an assessment of that and then act on it. So I think that's for me probably the biggest take home with these guys, because they are slippery and they've made it so that it's not just that they're not that boycott proof, that you really have to get smart about how you're approaching this and how we're taking this down.
100%. September 30th will be my 1 year anniversary from having canceled Amazon Prime. Now that's just one guy or one family that eliminated that. I didn't have Disney Plus because, you know, what am I watching on Disney? And the kids never come to visit anyways. And they're aged out of that. I would have when it came to Jimmy Kimmel. If I had Disney Plus then, it would have been gone in 15 minutes. But what I could do is Amazon. And
Yeah.
then I write about that in the, hashtag collective action, every couple of weeks. I'll do that on a podcast and catch it on a Friday. And specifically, I wind it into what I call, kind of try to make it fun, DEI Fridays, where I look at companies like Costco, who makes a makes it a very public stand that no, DEI is good for our business. We're standing up for our customers and for our employees, and having a diverse workplace makes us
Yep.
a more effective organization. So we're, whatever you hear from Washington, Costco, we're good. On the other, Walmart, not so good.
Not
So
so good.
we
Well,
make that
Target got
distinction.
nailed. I mean, Target got absolutely nailed for their
100%.
stance on DEI.
100%.
So, well, Scott, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so
You're the
much
best.
for coming on. You're the best. I really appreciate your time and your insight, and have really enjoyed getting to know you. And thank you for the resistance that you put up. You put up an amazing resistance. Everybody here, go follow Scott. I'll put this up so everybody has access to him. He does some lives. He goes live and does a really good job of it. So I've really enjoyed you as
You're
well. Thank you.
you're far too kind. I know George Brett would be very happy with the particular shade of blue that you have on right now,
Yes, I'm representing.
which is fantastic. And thank you so much. I look forward to the next time, and we'll keep in touch. And I'm going to continue to enjoy reading you every single day at 5:01 a.m. Central when they go out. You're fantastic, and you're so consistent that and for the elder, for the senior citizen part, it reads very well. I don't get your beautiful voice, but AI kind of helps us with that, and you get a beautiful,
Absolutely. Yeah.
quick, easy read while you're making your coffee, and
I
you
love it.
get up to speed. So thank you, and
Thank you. And
we'll keep in
thank you,
touch.
everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody that supports this Substack. Thank you, everybody that supports me. It means the world. And chapter 4, what are we on? Chapter 4. We'll be dropping the checkout. Chapter 4, the checkout will drop tomorrow at 8 p.m. I might have to change it to a little bit earlier, but it will drop tomorrow. So stay tuned. And Scott, have a great evening. Goodbye,
you also.
everybody. Until next
Thank you.
time.
You take it
Thank
easy.
you. You too.